Hello everyone, welcome to a devlog for EliteMobs 7.0. 7.0 has been voted for by Patreon supporters to be the Adventurers Guild update. Speaking of which, thank you to Patreon supporters for basically buying this new camera that I'm using. I really like it. Anyway, the 7.0 update is the Adventurers Guild update. This means that we are adding an EliteMobs Adventurers Guild, footage of which you'll be finding right now, because it is also a hub. As well as a few PvE features. Now, the Adventurers Guild itself hosts NPCs of the EliteMobs. This means that moving forward, you won't be forced to use third-party NPC plugins in order to create sellers for the EliteMobs loot. This also means that there's going to be a tutorial area and an area to get quests from, and it will all be built into the EliteMobs ecosystem. So this adds to the immersion, it adds to the depth of the plugin, and it also adds a bit in the interactions that players can have with the plugin. I think it's quite cool, and I hope you guys will be enjoying it. Now, the map you've been looking at right now is made by Gus of Realm of Lothiridon. Gus has been gracious enough to give me this map for free to distribute to anyone using EliteMobs. So starting at some point in 7.0, you'll be getting this hub when you download the plugin. It will just be there and it will load itself into your worlds folder. Obviously, you're not forced to use it. There will be an option to turn it off. You're also able to customize it to your liking or just make your own. The tools to create a hub will be made available in the plugin. Moving on, there's also going to be an arena, which is also located in the Adventurers Guild hub. This arena will be a place where you challenge high scores, where you go through fixed waves, and just in general, it's a good way to test yourself against EliteMobs in general, and it's a good way to sort of establish where you are compared to everyone else in the server. Players love a challenge, players love a high score, so I think players will enjoy this quite thoroughly. Additionally, there's going to be quests, and these quests tie into the arena. They also tie into the plugin hunting mechanics in general. Obviously, you'll get traditional RPG quests such as kill X amount of Y mob, or collect this, or kill this boss. There will also be quests that tie into events. There will also be quests that tie into the arena. And finally, there's going to be quests that tie into dungeons. Dungeons are the big thing in the menu for 7.0. They're probably the thing that I'm going to spend the most time working on. Now, before I even start describing them, tools to make dungeons will be made available to anyone that runs EliteMobs. They will be built into the plugin. So if you create a map for a dungeon, you can make the dungeon yourself. Dungeons are basically the same as World of Warcraft dungeons, or at least they're very inspired by them. If you're a Madecraft user, you might remember Moria or the Apple Orchard. It's that kind of content. So basically, you start in a location, and there's a final location. In the way, there's enemies. There's different rooms, there's different sections. Each room has sort of a challenge that you have to overcome in order to move to the next room. This challenge might be a labyrinth, or it might be a puzzle, or it might be waves of monsters, or it might be a small boss. And at the end, you'll be finding a final boss, which I hope to make fully unique. And you kill it and you get loot for beating the dungeon. Now, this is fairly cool, and I'll be making that loot unique, so it's always worth rerunning dungeons that you've run before, so the content is reused as things move along. And also I'll try to make it so each dungeon has multiple difficulty settings. But obviously, I can't make too many of these dungeons on my own. As a matter of fact, I can't make any of these dungeons on my own because I'm not a builder. And I think there's a limit to how many maps I can get for free for this, as each map has to be custom made, and each map is probably going to take about 1 to 2 months of work. So I'll be hiring a few map makers using Patreon funds and probably some private funds of mine, because the Patreon funds are not sufficient to actually cover all the expenses here. But I hope I'll be able to provide about 5 dungeons for free in the base Elite Mob experience. After that, well, I don't know. I've been thinking, and I think there's a few ways to do it. Now, obviously, the way I would like to do it is just get more money on Patreon, and I'll just continue releasing these new dungeons for free. But that's of dubious reliability. I don't know that there's going to be a lot more Patreon supporters here. So instead, I'm thinking maybe of selling these maps per piece. So each chunk would be an add-on that you can just pick and mix based on what you like and what you'd like to see in your server. There's also, you know, maybe I could crowdfund something, or maybe some people would be interested in investing directly to have a specific map made. Those are also options. If you're interested in that sort of system, let me know. As a matter of fact, this whole final part of the video, the more monetary side, is completely up to debate and completely up to discussion. It's why I'm making this video in the first place. I'm very interested in knowing what people think of the concept of these dungeons as add-ons, or of trying to push more for Patreon. I'd like to know where people stand with that. And that's the gist of the Adventurers Guild update. There's more to it, but I don't want to spoil all the surprises, and I also don't want to make this video too long. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy EliteMobs. And I'll be seeing you very soon for the 6.0 final updates, final devlog, final changelog. We're almost there. We're moving on to 7.0 finally, and we're getting new cool features. So I'll be seeing you soon.